Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time joining me, I appreciate you guys stopping in. Today we're going to go over the internal contents of the IFAKs that I covered in the previous video. If you haven't seen that one yet, I'll put it up in the corner so you guys can go on back and look at the different IFAK options that I went over. But again, today what we're going to do is we're going to open up some of these packagings and kind of give you guys a more in-depth view of what this stuff looks like inside of them. This stuff can be pretty expensive, so I can understand why people don't open them up right away. You want to keep them protected and sterile and make sure that you can still utilize them in the future. So today we're going to dig into some of this packaging. For starters, we'll go ahead and go with a chest seal. And as you see, I've added these pigtails up on the top corners next to the tear lines, because if you've ever had to work on a patient and open up packaging with bloody gloved hands, this stuff can be pretty slippery, and I've seen people struggle to open them. So adding these little duct tape lines helps quite a bit. So once you open up the packaging, everything's going to be pretty sticky, so you're going to have to rip it on out. And this one's a little bit older, so this one might be a little bit different than a fresh one. But what you're going to have in here is a little gauze pad, and what you do with this is ideally you're going to be using this on any kind of penetrating trauma to the chest, or the box as some people call it, and there's probably going to be some bleeding. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this gauze, quickly wipe down the wound, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pull onto this red tab, and that's how you remove your actual chest seal, okay? And on this side, you're going to see the sticky gelatinous part that's going to stick to the patient. It's incredibly sticky, and even if there's someone with chest hair, it's going to stick to it. What you're going to want to do is place the wound right in this area, and you're going to press it firmly on all sides and make sure it's stuck there, okay? And the beauty of these things is that they maintain this stickiness for quite some time. So if you and the guys have some expired ones that you don't mind ripping open, you can just place them back on the pad here, fold them up, put them back in the packaging, and then you're good to go to keep using them. And then you can train on each other, rip them off each other, rip a little bit of skin off. It's all fun and games. But yep, that's how you open up a chest seal, and that's what it looks like on the inside. So next we're going to go with the Quick Clot Combat Gauze. In the last video I kind of briefly went over that there's a couple of different marketing types for this hemostatic dressing, and the green packaging, the black packaging, it's all the same stuff on the inside. This one's about 10 to 15 bucks more, so if you go with the black law enforcement one, you're buying the same product. And this one has a couple of different ripping methods. You can go long ways or this way. You can add pigtails to this as well to make it easier if you feel like you need to. But this is what it's going to look like. It's pretty much just compressed gauze. And we'll go over in another video how to actually pack wounds. I ordered some trainers so we can actually set it up on a display, and I'll actually show you good techniques for properly packing wounds. But you get a good bit of this, and you'd be surprised how much of this you can fit inside of a GSW and how much you'll actually need to control that bleeding. But it's pretty straightforward in this packaging. And again, if you have some that's insanely expired, this one's 5 years expired. So we're going to hold on to this for future training. But yeah, it's pretty cut and dry with that one. And then here we have the old reliable Israeli bandage. These things are in just about every IFAK I've ever been issued and opened. But what a lot of people don't know is that they're packaged twice. Okay, so I've seen many people open up packaging and they're like, oh crap, I gotta open up another one. And a lot of these can be pretty difficult to open again. As you see, it's not like the North American Rescue stuff where it's got the big tear marks that are very obvious and easy to get to. So if you want to, you can kind of pre-game these. But once you open it up, you got your dressing here. And pretty straightforward. But yeah, just a little food for thought that if you have one of these in your IFAK and you've never opened one up and you've never trained with one, it's packaged twice. So make sure that you are training to deal with that accordingly and you're not surprised when you need this stuff the most in an emergency. Okay, as well as this S-rolled gauze. And I really like this stuff because it's compressed gauze just like your combat gauze. Okay, it just doesn't have the hemostatic capabilities. Okay, so this is, I wouldn't say just as good as stopping bleeding, because that hemostatic agent in the combat gauze is going to coagulate and stop the bleeding a little bit faster. But using this in direct pressure, same tactics for using this stuff, it's going to stop bleeding and it's still going to save lives. Okay, so if you can't afford to get a bunch of these because they're about 30 bucks a pop, you can get a whole bunch of these and come to the same result and still help your buddies or yourself. So once you open it up, much like our Israeli bandage, it's going to be packaged twice. Okay, but what's cool about this is you have the red circle here that you can kind of open up. Okay, you don't have to rip open that one, you just use a little pressure. And then you can start pulling at it. And what's nice about this is when you're actually packing wounds, you can put this somewhere, you can stuff it anywhere to hold it down, and as you're packing your wound, it feeds out of this packaging. So you keep pulling, stuffing, pulling, adding that direct pressure to the bleed, and you're doing great work, and the bandage is being protected so you're not putting a bunch of dirt and grime inside of your patient's wounds. So again, we're going to hold on to this as well for future training. And then something that not a lot of people really use outside of the medical field are these bear claw gloves from North American Rescue. I really like them, mostly because they're a little bit longer, they're thicker, have exceptional grip, and the biggest takeaway to these is that they're tan, okay? So that tan color, when you're conducting your blood sweep, you're going to spot blood on your hands easier if you're running your hands across a patient and looking for more additional bleeds. So that tan color really helps. You can still do it with the black blue gloves, but I just prefer these because they're thicker. So I protect myself because bone fragments and all that stuff inside of a patient, it can be very sharp. And if you're packing a wound near a broken bone, I'm not saying this is going to protect you from that, but it gives you a better chance. But what I like to do with these, I don't store them rolled up like this, okay? So when it comes crunch time and you gotta treat a patient, you're not gonna wanna fiddle around. They're wrapped up really tight and they're rubber, so they stick to themselves, and by the time you get them open and get them on, your patient's bled out. Okay, so I like to kind of pre-stage them a little bit, make sure all the fingers are pulled out, spread apart, and I'll store them flat, just so that when it is time to use them, they're much faster to throw on and you can get to work faster. Going on to tourniquets, these are pretty cut and dry and probably the most popular item that everyone has because it is arguably the most important, okay? This one is a little bit older, that's why it's made its way to the training pile, but I have this one pre-rolled, okay? Normally, I'm not a huge fan of pre-rolling my tourniquets, but when it comes to self-application of a tourniquet, pre-rolling it does help. So I do like to have at least one pre-rolled. And the reason why I don't like to pre-roll them is so when you're putting these on people, if you're in the prone position, you got to do it around a leg. It's easier to just press it on the leg, come under the leg with the loose end, feed it through your strap, and now you can get that good pressure down and start turning the windlass. Okay, so if it's pre-rolled, now I gotta, under fire at least, I gotta crawl over to the patient's foot and finagle this, and if they have a broken femur, I'm causing more pain and potentially worsening their injuries. It's just a lot simpler to leave it unrolled and just stow it in a way that you can quickly deploy it so that when it comes time, you can take this out of whatever pouch or carrier and you pull it apart, feed it through, and do what you gotta do to save your buddy or save yourself. So if you want to keep one of these pre-roll just in case you have to do aid to yourself. That's totally fine. I do the same thing. Now, these tourniquets are probably one of my favorites. Don't see a lot of people using these, the soft tees. They're pretty phenomenal. Now, their one downfall is that they're a lot harder to apply to yourself, okay? But putting them on another individual, this bracket here, the windlass is metal, and it's a little bit wider than the cat tourniquet, you can see there. So you get a better chance of occluding that artery and getting a really good application done. Not saying the cat is bad at it at all. It's proven time and time again. Both of these are what I recommend people get and carry. But again, this one for self-application, it's quite a bit more difficult, and I prefer the cat when it comes to carrying one that I'm going to apply to myself. Now, putting one of these on a buddy, like I talked about earlier, this bracket is extremely easy. Okay, now when you're in a situation where someone could be your best friend, could be a stranger, when they're hurt, you're going to lose fine motor skills, okay? And what that means is the ability to really grasp and kind of articulate what you're trying to do and finagle with little objects. That ability can go away. All right, so when you're doing it with a cat, you can sit here and fumble around, and could be a little bit harder, or you might not be able to do this at all. You might not be able to thread the needle. So the soft tee, it's much easier, a little bit more brute-like. And to me, it's just a lot faster to put onto somebody else. So it's just simple. You take that, push down, you're done. All right. So if you want to consider the soft tees as a tourniquet that you buy, you can't really go wrong with either one. But all this stuff is pretty much the generic contents of just about any halfway decent IFAK out there. And it's honestly what most people are trained to use, okay? Again, something that I really want to harp on is not using equipment that's beyond your scope of training, all right? Some of this stuff can hurt people. So if you're not trained to use this equipment, go out and get that training, and as always, be prepared, okay? That pretty much wraps up this video. So I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. If you could, please like and subscribe. This is a new channel. I'm really trying to get out there and help everyone. And if you guys have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to comment, and I'll read every single one of them, and I'll take all the input I can get.